Just kidding, folks. Welcome to the live stream, and congratulations on realizing the channel exists. It's just the world's most comprehensive daily space weather content. No big deal. So yeah, if you're not interested in space weather, press unsubscribe. No, just kidding. We do lots of stuff besides space weather content. But that's what we'll be talking about today for a very brief period of time while my voice holds up. Because my voice is shattered. Fortunately, 0 F's given. So yeah, tell your friends and foes about the channel. Leave us a comment while we get set up for today's daily space weather, news, and meteorology content. Pardon my disheveled appearance. I know I look a bit like a Joule today, so sorry, but there's not a lot I can do about that because I'm not feeling exactly up to par. All right, so yeah, space weather. Let's start with that. We've got a CME set to arrive early in the day universal time tomorrow. And when I say CME, that means coronal mass ejection. Now, the University of Reading and NOAA, they didn't notice it. And I don't think the ESA noticed it either. So there could be a little surprise geomagnetic storm, but there is also a coronal hole high-speed stream involved. So there's a massive North Pole-oriented coronal hole. We'll show you. And thanks for leaving a comment, Bruce. So let's talk about some stats about space weather, namely sunspots. Current sunspot number, according to Royal Observatory Belgium, is, what do we got? Current sunspot number is 100. Oh, sorry. 94. 94 sunspots. Bruce, I must say, your English is impeccable, sir. Cheers. And for that, we thank you. Yeah. Good morning, bud. Hopefully, South America is treating you great. How's life in Brazil? You know, I'd love to visit South America someday. Oh, darn. Captions are unavailable. Well, let me see. And thanks for letting me know, Kimberly. Let me see if I can... I may be able to turn those on in the middle of the video. There we go. That's a good hairdo for YouTube. That is a YouTube hairdo all day, right? Am I right? Incidentally, I've got 0 F's given. 0 F's are given whether or not you like the hairdo. But let us know in the comments. All right, so just bear with me a minute here, folks. I'm going to see if there's a setting in there that will allow me to turn on live closed captioning. But I think there actually is a thing. So just bear with me a minute, and I'll get back to the space weather. In the meantime, why don't I just put up some imagery of the closest star? What do you think? Here we go. Welcome to all of you stargazers. All right, so let me just see if there's a setting here real quick, and I'll be right back to the space weather content. I'm going to press the edit button here and see what happens. I don't think... Just want to type something in the description here real quick. Please leave a comment and tell us about The souls being cast into the river Styx. You know, it's Halloween week, folks, so it's a great week. It's a great week to look like a jewel. So I fit right in. I love it. And let us know what your Halloween costume's going to be. Remember, this year, this year, Halloween falls on a Friday. Yeah, Friday. It's better than when it falls on a Sunday or on a Wednesday. I like to mispronounce things sometimes, just for fun. You know, on Jeopardy, if you mispronounce a thing, but you pronounce it in a way that's like phonetically would spell the word correctly, they still give you credit. I don't think that we can turn on closed captions. I think YouTube has live closed captions available. But if there is a setting that, oh no, wait. Manually reviewed dubs, caption certifications. Yeah, I don't think closed captioning is going to work, but no big deal. Let me pop out the chat here so that I have it on my computer screen. I don't got to look at this device. I apologize for the delay. All right, so there's the closest star. That's the past couple of hours on El Sol. Got an active region rising up here. We've got some filamentary activity here in the center. Active region right in the Earth-facing zone just north of the heliographic equator. Kimberly, what you really need is the CBDs and the terpenes. The CBDs and the terpenes, and don't forget the cannabidiol. Cannabidiol is super good too. All right, so back to some space weather stats here. We're going to go back. We're going to go back to the saddle again. So if we talk sunspot number is about 94 sunspots. The 10.7 centimeter radial flux currently at 123 solar flux units. 123 solar flux units. Next, we got the forecast from NASA. From NOAA, rather. And the forecast is, what do you got? What do you got, NOAA? At Swoopsy, the Space Weather Prediction Center, you can see there are geomagnetic storms. But they're only talking about a coronal hole stream here, not a CME impact, because like we said 2 days ago, this is an antipode. What is antipode supposed to mean? You're talking about the opposite side of the Earth as an earthquake? What about it? What about it? Like, so, the antipode. The antipode cannot be used to forecast earthquakes, by the way. It would be nice if it could be, but it can't be. All right, so here's our current coronal hole high-speed stream, and it's not so fast yet. So only at about 400, a little under 500 kilometers a second right now. Density is still nominal here at 4 protons per cubic centimeter. And the BTBZ is not looking stormy at all. The BTBZ, which is that top line, the white and red. White is the BT, red is the BZ. Total field is 11 nanotesla with a BZ of -9. Positive 9. Geez, pardon my brain fog, folks. Pardon my brain fog. That's the most common symptom that I experience when I get the flu or secondary infections. Oh my gosh, I'm getting frustrated. So we ain't got any energetic particle events. The likelihood of one is actually very low right now. We don't have very active regions on the sun. The GOES X-ray flux is at a background flux of about B5. So very inactive sun right now. This looks almost like solar minimum conditions. But don't worry, folks. That kind of stuff only lasts so long as we are near solar maximum. And we regularly get wild swing. Oh, look at that. Nice. Nice. Look at that CME. I suspect that is on the Earth side of the disk. So let's see here. Right around midnight this morning, the 29th, we have a major CME propagating. We're hoping it's on the Earth side. Fingers crossed for that. Aw, man. Really? Come on, Lasco. Oh, there it is, y'all. Oh, nice. It's high speed, too. This one could be like 2,000 kilometers per second here. Wow. That is legit. Look, it looks like a mushroom cloud, folks. That is legit. So just before midnight, there was a major eruption. And of course, we got an alert about a radio burst. You know, you can sign up for those alerts as well. We used to send out alerts to our Smash Team members. All right, let me get to the comments here. I see there are a number of comments, and thanks for leaving some. Friends. All right, and pardon my voice, it's getting lower and lower and lower until I say, you will never understand the power of the dark side. And yes, if you're wondering, I will eventually be a cartoon villain. For real. Not kidding. Not kidding. We've started a rock band too. So actually, you could say it's a metal band, but metal is a subgenre of rock. So yeah, anyway. So there's the past couple of hours. Let's actually look at it in 193 here because it's going to show that coronal hole. Oh, it's shrunk. That coronal hole of North Pole orientation, which this is what we're talking about right here, has shrunk in size. So yeah, it's this coronal hole high-speed stream is pretty slow and pretty weak. But there's going to be a CME impact in about 24 hours. So are you ever going to load? Let's press refresh. Are we still live? Please let us know in the comments if we are still live. What the heck? All right, it's probably just their website breaking down because too many people viewing it. All right, so now next we're going to look at Stereo A. And right now, if you're wondering what this site is, this is the, I don't remember what it's called, ISWA, the Integrated Space Weather Analysis Center. ISWA, I-S-W-A. So we're going to bring up Stereo A here. Stereo A Core 2 Space Weather Beacon. And let's see if that CME from this morning is earthly directed. Cross your fingers, folks. Cross your fingers. Cross them. Cross them now or forever hold your piss. All right, so here is Stereo A. Let's bring up the latest. And it looks like we have that CME on Stereo A's coronagraph. And for that, we thank you. No, we don't. What the heck? What? Oh, there it is. Okay, so that does not look like an earthly directed CME. If that were an earthly directed CME, it wouldn't be coming out of here. It would be coming out of here. But there could be a small earthly directed component to that. Because look, there is a halo. That was a major eruption on the far side, it looks like. They're actually on the east side of the sun. So, dag. Yeah, there could be an earthly directed component to that, and it's high speed. So that could arrive in as little as maybe 36 hours. Look at that halo. That is legit, folks. So yeah, that's another CME likely to be here on Halloween. How you like them apples? Hoping for a geomagnetic storm on Halloween. What could be better than going out and chilling in a lawn chair, dressed up in your Halloween costume? Like, I mean, what? It's amazing. It's great. sitting out with your friends, looking at the aurora, you know, chilling, drinking a pumpkin spice mushroom coffee by Ryze. By the way, if you want to try some Ryze coffee, see our Instagram account. Links in the description of that. You want to save 15% on your Ryze order, we got you covered. Instagram.com/smash-a-mash. Again, links in the description. Ryze mushroom coffee. It's not only delicious, it's better for you than many, many things. So there are boulder magnetometers there. It's nothing special going on, really, folks. No big deal there. Let's take a look at our magnetograms. Again, we do have an active region rising in the east, so we're always excited to see more solar activity. Let's bring up the latest imagery here from Cerro Tololo, Chile. There is our solar magnetogram. That is yesterday plus today, 73 frames there. And these are inactive sunspots. So I'm not going to get into the classes of sunspots or anything like that. It's unnecessary. Hey, thanks for leaving a comment, Marion Lewis. Next is our hydrogen alpha imagery. And I just want to see if we're able to see that CME. We probably will be able to see it here. Let's see. Cerro Tololo's got the latest, so let's use them. All right, so we're going to advance this slowly. All right, so there's the CME propagating at, there's missing data. Let me pick a different one here. Let's pick Lermonth. Since it's on the other side of the planet, this is going to show it better. All right, let's see. Let's go back. Oh, geez. There's a CME on the Earth side. Look at this filament right here, folks. See that filament? It's going to blast off. Bye! That mobilized for sure. Also, this one blasted off. We've got Earth weather headed towards space. I mean, we've got Earth weather headed towards space, folks. Just kidding. Yeah, space weather. Multiple events here. We've got 3 CME impacts on the way. Count them, 3. I just showed you. I mean, look, I don't care who fails at forecasting it. We've succeeded at forecasting it. There it is. So CME impact arriving tomorrow. That's a coronal mass ejection. Coronal mass ejection impact arriving on Friday. And another likely coronal mass ejection arriving on Saturday. So 3 events on the way. In addition to the coronal hole high-speed stream, we could see co-interactive regions. We're very likely to see mid-latitude aurora at this point. Don't be surprised to see a KP8. Those are dense, large filaments, and a bunch of them have erupted here. So, I don't know. I mean, like, look, I don't base my space weather forecasts on what anybody else says about it. We need more people evaluating this stuff, because it's hard to forecast. But there you go. Major CME coming out of here. Major CME coming out of here. This one did go mostly to the east. But there could be an earthly directed component because look at how earthly facing that was. Secondly, this massive filament may have an earthly directed component because look, it's not on the limb. Neither of these were on the limb. So there you go. CMEs are headed this way. And it's a few of them. As far as coronal holes, this northern one has shrunk here in the past 4 days. And we should see that North Pole coronal hole shrink a little. There you go. You can see it closing up a little bit, or perhaps it's just migrating toward the southern heliographic pole. But there is a South Pole oriented coronal hole on the way. So here are the sector boundary crossings. Earth is currently in a North Pole oriented magnetic sector, as you can see here, depicted in green from our Gong 2 data. This is stereo A out here. Here's stereo B over here. Here's the last image. So you can see we're probably only about 1 day from this sector boundary crossing. And if you're wondering, folks, there is a heliospheric current sheet right here and right here, because you have current sheets at sector boundary crossings. That's the part of the solar system where those things exist. Hey, Kimberly's back. We didn't even know you were gone, Kimberly. That's how smooth you are. You're like baby's ass. Kimberly is baby's ass, folks. And that means smooth. All right, so next is our 3-day electron flux report. There you go. And we still do have high levels of electron flux. Now, yesterday we talked about the Russell-McFerrin effect. We are not in electron storm levels, but you're going to have some significant GPS errors should you be using your GPS. And here's where you can expect to see those errors. Our total electron content forecast. We're going to take an intermission between space weather and Earth weather, because that is the time where we'll talk about regular news stories or whatever you viewers want to talk about. So leave a comment. If you've got a news story you want me to comment on, I'll consider it. But no promises. Actually, let's take a look at the ionosphere, because we used to show it every day on the channel, and we've stopped because we have practically no incentive to show you anything on the channel. However, we will today. YouTube. If you want your soul crushed, try to make money on it. Now, this is showing the vibrational frequency of the ionosphere, okay? The ionosphere, it doesn't vibrate that fast, okay? 14 hertz is really slow. The human ear can hear down to about 20 hertz. So imagine the lowest bass note that you're able to hear. If you have good hearing, that's about 20 hertz. So, that's a pretty slow vibration. The ionosphere is mainly made up of charged particles, and it begins. Well, there's a map of it. All right. The daytime side of the planet, the ionosphere puffs up, and you get the F region, the E region, and the D region. That's the lowest part. And then at nighttime, you just get mainly the E and F regions there. It kind of shrinks down a little bit at nighttime. Anyway, I'm going to show some solar imagery here. We're going to switch to, let's look at a different, oh, there we go. Okay, cool. The 193 angstroms is now initialized. So I suspect there's a lot of bandwidth being used because there's such major CMEs going on. And folks are scrambling to try to figure out the forecast. That's why we stream live, because I'm faster. So yeah, there's the coronal hole that's currently providing the high-speed stream. And let's switch. Let's take a look at this one for once. We don't show this too much on the channel. This is like a computer enhanced graphic. And as you can see, if we shrink it down, you can see it's got color codes. So blue is the quiet sun, and light blue is the limb, and so forth. So we do have a bunch of activity on the Earth side of the disk, but at the moment, these are fairly inactive sunspots. Now we do see some filaments here around the limb. That's pretty cool. Some filaments over here. We could see it's an SEP event based on this stuff over here. But again, these are not very active sunspots. So the likelihood of them producing large flares is actually very low. Let's bring up the house favorite wavelength here until we get to our news stories. That's cool. That works. 171 angstroms, one of the many species of ionized iron covered by the GOES 19. All right, so I'm going to pull some news stories here. So again, if you've got news stories you'd like me to comment on, just let us know in the comments. First, I'll talk finance. NVIDIA is still climbing, increasing the size of the NASDAQ bubble. Yeah, the NASDAQ bubble. It's the biggest stock market bubble since 1999. In fact, it's bigger than the one in 1999, making it the biggest stock market bubble ever. Please bear with me one moment. I've got to handle some personal health matters, and then I'll be right back. All right, that's much better. Now, like I said, the NASDAQ is seeing the biggest bubble that it's ever seen in its history. And when I say it's a bubble, I'm talking about price to earnings ratios. Okay? Price to earnings ratios are how we determine the value of a stock. When a stock's price is very high, its earnings have to be very high. That is EPS, earnings per share. And the price to earnings ratio is what determines the value of a stock. If the price is high and the earnings are high, it's a high value stock. If the price is high and the earnings are nowhere near the price, then it's not a high value stock. If you look at the price to earnings ratios in the NASDAQ right now, they're more out of whack than they've ever been before, including in 1999. The price of these stocks is overinflated, and it's largely because of the completely confused misconception about AI. Absolutely idiotic. Not intelligence. The pioneers in AI can't write an app that functions for your smartphone. So just consider that when considering purchasing NASDAQ stocks. This is not investing advice. These are facts and suggestions. NVIDIA shares pop 3% in pre-market as tech giant nears historic $5 trillion valuation. Yeah, it's the most expensive company in the history of the world, NVIDIA. And that spike in their price is completely driven by AI. Now, let us know in the comments what you think. Personally, I think AI should be rebranded as UI, unintelligent, because it's not intelligence. So, like, the whole entire industry has been misnamed. It's not AI, artificial intelligence. Like, it's artificial, that it's intelligence, and that's about it. Don't you think if these companies were going to create a technological utopia, that they would be able to make a smartphone app that works? Or, I don't know, make a self-driving car that's not fully self-crashing? These organizations are not pioneers in anything except misleading investors. That's my opinion, and if you don't like it, let us know in the comments. Let's talk other news story. Boeing is hitting the headlines. CVS beats estimates. Mortgage rates drop to the lowest level in over a year, pushing refinancing 111% higher annually. So yeah, that's a good thing, right? Mortgage rates dropping if you're, thinking about getting a mortgage. That'll be good. The Fed is also expected to approve a rate cut today. So if you're expecting prices to go up, price inflation, you're on point. Prices are going to go up because if the value of the dollar goes down because the Fed lowered interest rates again, your prices are going to go up. All right? That is not businesses raising prices. That is the U.S. allowing the Federal Reserve to artificially manipulate the prime lending rate. The largest block of business in the world is the interest on international and corporate loans. And so, if you think you're living in a capitalist society, you're living in a corporatist society. Capitalism would be if the market controls the price. The market doesn't control the price. A series of private banking interests control the price of those loans. The biggest block of business in the world, the interest on international and corporate loans. Just dropping some more facts for you there, folks. Continuing on, let's talk general news stories before we talk Earth meteorology. Sorry if I'm casting too much light on things. We're going to talk about Hurricane Melissa. We're going to talk about whatever we want to talk about. And let's see what is being reported in general news story. Senate passes bill with Republican support to rescind Trump's tariffs on Brazil. All right. Occasionally, some good news happens. Now, you may wonder why I think tariffs are idiotic. So, if you call yourself a libertarian and you think tariffs are acceptable, then you're not a libertarian and you don't understand what the word means. So, tariffs are a tax that exporters pay, and they pass on the cost of that tax to the consumers. They're not interested in changing their profit margins, so when their items are tariffed, they either don't send them anymore because they can't justify how much they'd have to raise the price, causing shortages, or they raise the price, which means, what does that mean, folks? That means tariffs are paid by you, the consumer, not corporations, not China, not Canada, okay? Tariffs, the most beautiful word in the dictionary. It's so beautiful. Oh, the word tariffs. I have the definition of the word tariffs that I've printed out, and I'm going to just stick it on the wall back here for aesthetics because it's such a beautiful word. It's the most amazing, most incredible word ever made by humans. The word tariff. Oh, I just love it so much. The only words that are better than tariff are maybe like love and God. But yeah, like tariffs, oh, tariffs, oh, tariff. The most beautiful word ever invented. Besides God and love and religion. But besides that, tariffs, the most beautiful word ever invented. Okay? Okay, tariffs. Tariffs. All the economically illiterate people think tariffs are good. They were all saying, in 2023, they're like, lower the taxes. And then Trump says, tariffs. We're going to ruin the whole world's economy a la COVID by assessing, by placing tariffs on things, including countries that don't have any tariffs. It's great. Utter economic illiteracy. It's a pandemic. All right, let's see. Yeah, so the U.S. passed a bill to rescind Trump's tariffs on Brazil. So congratulations to Bruce. Bruce, we hope you're still watching because your economy is going to improve now. Congratulations. Our economy is going to improve too because Congress has circumvented Trump's nonsense about tariffs, at least on Brazil. Now all they got to do is rescind all the rest of his idiotic tariffs, and the economy will be restored. Just pathetic. Pathetic economic illiteracy. In the executive branch, Shaq had a custom Land Rover built for him, and then it vanished. and there's a $10,000 reward. If you find Shaq's Land Rover built for a guy who's 7'1", return it to Shaq. He'll give you 10,000 bucks. Oh man, that is a shame because Shaq is a nice guy. I mean, I didn't really like Shaq as a basketball player very much because, Shaq was kind of crap as a basketball player. He just stood in the lane and tried to shoot three-footers all day. But look, he was the top scorer in the NBA for like 4 years or something. You can't freaking dispute that, right? And Shaq is just a nice guy. So like, what the hell? I mean, the reason that you see Shaq in so many like commercials and movies and like podcasts and stuff is because Shaq is freaking cool. Like you totally want to hang out with Shaq. One of my favorite Shaq quote ever is the one time they went on vacation to France or something, and the reporter asked Shaq. They said, "Hey, Mr. O'Neal, did you visit the Louvre while you were in Paris?" And Shaq said, "I don't know, man. We went to so many clubs while we were there. I lost track." Yeah, so if you find Shaq's SUV, don't keep it. If I find an image of what it looks like, the Lumpkin County Sheriff's Office, all right? lumpkincounty.gov. lumpkincounty.gov. Oh, geez. Yeah, they're trying to find Shaq's SUV. It's probably worth like 800 grand or something, right? Where's the story on this thing, dudes? Victim's advocate, maybe? I don't know. I'm just trying to get an image for you so that you can see what Shaq's SUV looked like. All right, anyway. So Carl Tuckerson says, remember Shaq got taco neck syndrome from eating taco. What's taco neck syndrome? Taco neck syndrome. That sounds bad. Hold on a minute. I'm going to find Shaq's SUV, a photo of it. What the hell, dudes? All right, hold on. Just be patient. Be patient. It's still early in the morning. It's only 8:05 Eastern Time. Taco neck syndrome. Maybe I should look that up. So Shaq's Land Rover apparently was customized by Effortless Motors, but was supposed to have additional fabrication work done in Georgia. The vehicle never arrived in Baton Rouge, and First Line Trucking did not immediately respond. So they shipped the truck First Line Trucking. Why the hell somebody didn't just drive it there, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't drivable. Who knows? But you would think the article would actually show a photograph of the missing SUV. That might be smart, right? I'm just going to search for it. Shaq's missing SUV. Let's see what... Okay, so it's worth $180,000. It looks like just a black Range Rover. Okay, here it is. All right, there we go. Here's a photo of Shaq's Range Rover. It's customized for a man who's 7'1" and like 400 pounds. But there it is, dudes. If you find it, give it back to Shaq. If you find Shaq's Range Rover, don't freaking keep it. Don't take it to a chop shop like some idiot. Get 10,000 bucks and give him back his damn SUV. That's messed up, man. Carl Tuckerson says, in a commercial, his neck was bent from eating tacos. What? How much do you want for the SUV, Marion? Jeez. I mean, you'll probably get the reward if you see it. And imagine how many reports, like everybody driving a black SUV is getting like pulled over by the cops right now. A black Range Rover. Oh, man. Ah, that sucks. That really sucks. Because that's 180,000 is a lot to pay for a Range Rover, right? That's like almost double the normal price, isn't it? Anyway, moving along here. We're going to get to meteorology in just a minute. We could cover science stories, but nope. Nope. All right, let's see. Oh, geez, what have I done? I typed in the wrong URL, folks. Oh, my gosh. Oh, check it out. The White House has fired all 6 members of agency that advises President and Congress on design of White House changes. Okay, I don't care. I don't care what he does to the White House. I don't care if he burns down the White House. I don't care if he nukes the White House. I don't care. Completely uninterested in politics. I am checked out. Checked out. Done. Finished. Zero interest in politics. Let's talk Earth meteorology. First, we're going to talk this hurricane. Let's go to nullschool.net. Love nullschool.net. And look, the hurricane has weakened as it Jamaica. It's probably not a Cat 5 anymore. But there it is. And let's bring up a forecast. By the way, that's the surface winds. This hurricane is expected to move like this toward Bermuda and then get shattered by wind shear. All right. Next thing I want to look at is Saharan dust. All right. Because I suspect there could be some inputs here from that. Let's bring up the DUX. Okay. So Saharan dust is not a player here. All right. That is a good thing for all you hurricane chasers out there that want to see a bad hurricane. Oh, Carl Tuckerson says he's putting a bunker under the ballroom. Oh, yeah, you got to have a bunker under the ballroom because, who knows, World War III could suddenly break out during the ball. So you got to have, maybe they'll put a fire pole in there so they can slide down the fire pole into the bunker. Fingers crossed, bro. Fingers crossed. So yeah, Saharan dust is not playing in. Let's take a look at the jet stream, which is about to destroy this storm in about 2 days. And look, see right up here? See the way we have these strong jet stream flows? Those are not good for hurricanes. So once it gets to here, this area west of Bermuda, it's going to get smashed to bits. Smashed to bits. We can actually show you a forecast here. So let's do that real quick. Actually, we're going to show pressure here instead of wind. So there is the pressure. Look at it because hurricanes have the lowest pressure in the world. Oh, wow, that's monstrous. 982 hectopascals. So there you go. Jamaica has been kaplastered. I mean, like the amount of damage there is going to be shocking. Expect to see the news stories on that. Jamaica has been kaplastered, especially the eastern part. So that struck the coast as a Category 5, it looks like. Expect to see a lot of horror stories about Jamaica. Fortunately, weather forecasting is so good nowadays that it wouldn't have been a surprise to probably anybody there. All right, so let's do a forecast here for the pressure. You're going to see the pressure go way up. Watch. These are 1 hour steps we're doing, by the way. Let's get rid of that marker. This is the forecast based on the GFS model. So you're going to see this thing just kind of moving up there toward Bermuda. I think we may have shown a forecast. No, I looked up a forecast a few days ago. Has a hurricane been bombed yet for science? Probably. I don't think anybody has nuked a hurricane yet. Let's see what the forecast for pressure is at this point. Oh, wow. Look at that. It looks like it's going to intensify. So let's switch to ocean temperature here, sea surface temperature, and see how warm it is. I suspect that central Atlantic there is going to be really, really... What? Oh. Let's go back to now. Yeah, the water is 80 degrees. Almost 81 degrees. So look, here's the 80.9 degrees. So yeah, it's going to have free reign there for a while, but then it's going to get destroyed by wind shear. Let's go back to pressure, and we'll advance this a little faster this time. Get rid of that probe. These are now 8-hour steps. There it's going toward Bermuda. Okay, FS model has changed a little bit here. It looks like Bermuda's going to get hit pretty hard. So for all of you who like surfing, Bermuda is a spot where there's going to be surf. Keep in mind, Bermuda doesn't usually have good surf because of the way the continental shelf is with respect to Bermuda. But if you're thinking about a Bermudan surf vacation, now's the time to get on the way. It's not going to be a direct, but there's going to be some amazing waves. Shout out to all my surfer pals. All right, continuing on. Get rid of that probe again. There you go. Now it's damaged. And now the pressure has dropped. So the GFS forecast is showing, the pressure has gone up, I should say. The GFS forecast here showing that route. That's the projected path based on that model. And if we switch models here, let's see. I think I can switch models. Maybe not. I think it's just a GFS. Just a minute. Yeah, anyway, not going to hit the US. Moving on. Come on, then. Please bear with us during these technical difficulties. The browser has decided to take on a life of its own. Maybe it's because it's absolutely idiotic. You know, AI. AI should be rebranded as NI, not intelligent. All right, so we're just going to show you the forecast model here. I just want to show you a different model since I basically went through the GFS. We're going to show the Euro model here real quick and then end this stream quite soon. Let's see. Gonna switch models here. We're going to switch regions as well. So we're going to look at let's show the whole North Atlantic. First, we'll do a 72-hour pressure and precipitation forecast. So that's the GFS model, 6-hour steps, 72-hour forecast. The reason we show 72-hour forecasts is because they tend to be accurate. We'll also show the Euro model, and I guess we'll show the Euro and the icon. Does that sound good? I hope it sounds good because this is a weather dictatorship. How do I switch that? We'll use the Euro ensemble. The pressure anomaly will show us the path of the hurricane. So we're going to go to 6 to 72 hour forecast. This time we're looking at pressure anomaly, mean sea level pressure anomaly, the Euro model. So the Euro model is actually showing that thing taking about the same path as the GFS model. You can see right here, here's the hurricane, and it's just kind of headed up, northwest of Bermuda. So it's the amount of damage that it's done is now pretty much over, although there are some more islands there north of Jamaica. But once it's out of that area, it's only going to hit Bermuda. Anyway, we can also show, let's show one more here. Well, here's, I'm sorry, that wasn't the Euro model. That was the Ensemble EPS. Here's the Euro model. I don't usually look at models besides the GFS because we only show 72-hour forecasts on the channel, and they're usually all the same for 72-hour forecasts. So this is actually the Euro model. The other was Ensemble EPS. You can see it's almost the same route there. They're showing much higher, actually a bit lower pressures there. So yeah, the Euro model is showing it a little bit more intense. And let's also show the icon. 72-hour icon forecast here. This is just the mean sea level pressure and the 10-meter wind speed kit. All right, so that's going to be more info than you'll need about the hurricane track. Maybe you're a seafarer sailing the Western Atlantic. So there's the icon forecast, and you can see very similar, showing quite a bit lower pressures here. Suspect they're using some different instruments, but whatever. It's going to go right off the coast of Newfoundland, and there'll be some great surf at Newfoundland. So that's exciting. Shout out to all my favorite Canadian surfers. Anyway, let's also take a look at windy.com. Windy.com, they got a great mobile app, by the way, if you didn't know. Here's what's going on over the U.S. It's very dry conditions. So look at that. It's almost entirely high pressure. We're actually looking at pressure here. Let's switch to the satellite. Windy has a fantastic satellite feed. So good. So there's the past hour. And that thing has lost a little bit of its coherence. That hurricane, whatever it's called. Hurricane Melissa. It's lost a little bit of coherence. But great view of the cloud tops there, folks. Look at that. The morning sunlight there illuminating those cloud tops. You can see all those extremely tall, cold clouds there way up in the stratosphere. Look at the size of these clouds right here. They are absolutely massive. If you look at things like temperature, that's what's going on for temperature. 75 degrees Fahrenheit inside the eye. But there really isn't a coherent eye now. So it's warm and balmy and a little bit windy. Quite a bit. Geez, look at that. Oh, it's only showing 65. What? What? But, like we said, the storm will intensify as it gets over that 81-degree water. This is all 80 degrees, 80 plus degrees in this area. So that's going to be good for convection. There is no dust to slow it down. It's a great time to observe a hurricane that's already done most of the damage it's going to do. I mean, it's going to go right over these islands. So these islands are going to get plastered. I mean, Cockburn Town. Cockburn Town. That sounds nice. Geez, look at that place. It's an archipelago or something. Wow. Not too much water there. Look at the estuarial resources. Geez. Look at that. Great Lake. We're going to rename that to Lake Trump. Okay. Lake Trump. Anyway, that's what's going on with weather. Let's show our standard issue U.S. stuff. Water vapor map first, then the visible satellite. We'll close out with some imagery of the sun. If you are looking to leave a comment, make sure you do. If you're new to the channel, press subscribe and whatever. So there is our water vapor map. We'd like to show that because it clarifies your Doppler radar. That's our GOES water vapor map. We'll also show the visible satellite. About 20 frames should be about right. And it's going to show some amazing cloud tops here, folks. Wait till you see this. It's going to be incredible. But we're going to zoom way in on that. This huge band out here, this has got some crazy storms on it. I mean, that's one of the biggest hurricanes ever, really, as far as how fast it intensified. I mean, it is bonkers. So let's zoom in on that one spot. We're going to pull less frames here. How about 15 frames? Oh, we're too zoomed in here. Let's use the medium zoom setting instead. There you go. There's Hurricane Melissa. And the best time to view these things is right as the sun rises, folks, because you can really see those amazing cloud tops. And you can see the eye wall just kind of disintegrating there. And that's because, you know, there's no convection when you're over land, or there's very little convection when you're over land. But it's getting back in the ocean now, and it is going to go berserk. So yeah, those islands that are north of Jamaica, they are definitely hunkered down. They got like boards on the windows, and people have evacuated, and people are living their life in a kayak, wearing a hard hat and stuff, because they know weather forecasting ain't like it used to be, folks. And this channel ain't like it used to be, folks. So it's time to end this video. Remember, multiple coronal mass ejections on the way. Here are the past couple of hours from the GOES 19. 304 angstroms, ionized helium. And that's where we're going to close out. This has been a lengthy stream. Extremely exhausted from it because I am not on peak health. Yeah, I've got issues. I've got issues right now. So yeah, we'll close out. We're going to let this play for like 5-10 minutes because that'll give you a chance to leave comments and so on. Thanks to everybody who's tuned in. Again, if you're new, press subscribe. If you haven't pressed like, please do. And most importantly, press the share button. You can also visit the links in the description. You will see all kinds of interesting stuff there. Follow us on social media. If you want to name solar filaments, do it with the hashtag #NameThatFilament over on Twitter. Just put up the tag, hashtag #NameThatFilament, and tag us at Smashomash. And you could name solar filaments after your friends, your foes, or even yourself. Anyway, it's time to close this thing out. Thanks again for tuning in, folks. Congratulations on realizing the channel exists. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smashomash, signing off. And until next time, may that soul